Hello Year 11 and welcome to this, the fifth video for our fourth topic. We are collecting data and we are constructing graphs in this video here. Constructing graphs. Now, we have different types of graphs and why we would use a different one depends on what we want it to do. Depends on what we're trying to say with the data. By and large, with a graph, what we're trying to do is to summarize this data and make it easy to interpret some particular aspect of it straight away. So if I'm comparing the relative size of different sort of elements, different scores within this data set, if I want to display them as parts of the total, then a sector graph or a divided bar graph is good. If I want to provide data that I can sort of read off, right, so that I can compare the relative sizes and maybe rank them from highest to lowest or something, then a bar chart might be great. And if I want to see a trend within my data, then a line graph might be the way to go. Okay, they have strengths and weaknesses, and take a moment to read through that information there. Now, I have an example here. We have some data, and what I want to do is to draw a sector graph and a divided bar graph. Now, I have some frequencies and some totals here. And I'm going to, in fact, amend or append this table to have two extra columns. I'm going to have degrees, and I think I'm going to have millimeters. Now, actually, I think my little circle there for degrees is going to be misinterpreted, so I'm going to say DEG for degrees, right, for my sector graph. Righto. Now, what am I going to do with this? That's pretty messy. You can see why you should use a pencil and a ruler to do stuff. But anyway, now, my degrees have to add up to 360, right, for my sector graph. So what I need to do is my 563,674, right? Hello, calculator, where are you? Here we go. Clear. 563, 674, right, divided by 23,401,892, right? And that's what fraction of the total is Buddhist. So now I take that fraction and multiply it by 360, and I get about, let's say, 8.5 degrees. Oops, 8.5 degrees. I'm probably not going to measure it that accurately, but anyway, about 8.5 degrees. Let's try that again with Christian here. Back to my calculator. So, just follow again. What I want is the number of Christians, that's 12,201,600, divided by the total, 23,401,892. So that's what fraction of the total is Christian, and I want that fraction of my 360 degrees, so times 360 equals 187.7. Let's call that 187.5. We're just going to round things to the nearest half. 187.5 degrees. Okay. Now, we're just going to do the same thing for the rest of that column. Okay, and here, by the magic of video, they're all completed there now. The last one I actually rounded up a little bit because I didn't get exactly 360 degrees. That can be a problem when you're rounding things a few times, but nonetheless, we're not going to be measuring things anywhere nearly this accurately. So what we would do from here, you would use something like a pair of compasses to draw a lovely, neat circle, right? There is a less than lovely, neat circle. And then you draw a radius, right, from the center out to the circumference, right? There's my radius. That's going to be my start point. And using my protractor, I line it up with the center of the protractor at the center of the circle. And one of the wires, like the bottom line of the protractor, along that radius, and I will measure out 8.5 degrees, which is going to be something like here, right? So that's my 8.5 degrees. Then my 187.5 degrees, which is about here. And then my 6.5 might be like this. My 9.5, my 1.5 is almost nothing. My 39.5 is going to be something like this. And finally, hopefully I've got 107, right? That's not great. Yes, but I really don't have a way of doing this on my little tablet with a circle and protractor. Now, you won't need to take a pair of compasses and a protractor into an exam, so you won't need to produce one of these, but you might need to do this calculation. Okay, and it's good practice to be able to do it. Alternatively, of course, you can type these numbers into Excel and insert a chart, and it will create it in a lovely way for you. Anyway, now let's have a look at how we do this thing with a divided bar graph. We do a very similar thing, right? We do 563,674 divided by 23,401,892, but instead of multiplying now by 360 degrees, we multiply by the length that we want our bar to be. So our divided bar graph is going to look something like this. Righto. It's going to look something like this. Now, for the sake of simplicity, I am going to make my bar, I don't know, let's make it 180 millimeters long. So this number divided by this number multiplied by 180, which just happens to be, right, it's going to be half of this. So I'm going to call that, in fact, I'm going to call that 4. And this I'm going to call 94. And this I might call 3 and 5 and 1. This will be approximate, but you know, less than a millimeter. I'm not drawing it very accurately. It's certainly going to give the right impression. This will be 20. And hopefully, I think if this is maybe 53, we'll add up a 3, a 4, a 9, 12, 4 and 4. There we go. I'm pretty sure that's going to add up to a neat 180. So, 4 mils, right? There's my 4 mils. Then my 94 mils, right? And then my 3, my 5, my 1, a 20, and a 53, right? And that makes up my divided bar graph. Very scrappy, I know, on the tablet, but such is life. Now for this new thing that you might not have seen before called a Pareto chart. It is a combination of a column graph and a line graph. And it uses a scale on either side. That's a start. Okay, so let's have a look to see how this goes. I've got some data here, and I need to put it into a graph. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different categories, and you can see I have sort of room for 6 different columns. That's nice. My number of complaints. The highest number is 90. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. In fact, I think I'm going to make that 90 there. 90, 80, and so on. Our axis is labeled from 0 to 90. And so now I can put in each of these categories. I can draw a column graph or bar chart in descending order. Now, these have been arranged in descending order already, but with a Pareto chart, you always put the biggest score on the left. Right. So my first one is 90, right? Across here and down here like this. Fabulous, yes? Then a 55 is around here. A 45, a 15, followed by a 5. I feel like I've missed something. 90, 55, 45, 15. Oh, there's 10. I did miss something. And a 5. Right, like that. So there is our column graph arranged in descending order. Now, I should label these underneath, and I've got just a little bit of room there. Damaged parts, but not really enough room. Damaged parts. Right, etc., etc., dirty, and so on. Fill those out. Now, the next part is that we need to have the cumulative frequency, right, as a line graph. So what do I mean by that? Well, I add them up as I go along. I'm just going to put a CF here for cumulative frequency, and that's a 90. And then I add these ones together, and I get 145, right? That's 90 plus 55. Now, 145 plus 45 gives me 190. 190 plus 15 is 205, plus another 10 is 215, and another 5 is 220. So, what I need here is to have this axis here on the right-hand side go up to 220. Now, how's that going to work? If I make it go to 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160, it's not going to fit there. So let's make them in 25s, right? I'm just going to make this 0, 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, 150, 175, 200, and 225. Now, I put these in. I'm going to put in the middle of this column here. So my first one goes up to 90 on this scale, right? That's about here. First one's there at 90. Then 145. That's about here. Then 190. It's a tricky thing, this, using two different scales. 205. 215. And 220. Right, we can now join these ones up. So the idea of Pareto chart is to sort of give us an idea of what the biggest contributors are here. So certainly damaged parts are the largest, and the largest by a bit. And I can also sort of see that, well, if I just take these first 4 categories, then I've accounted for nearly all of the complaints here anyway, right? That I can see that these last few ones, yes, they're much smaller, and they only account for a small amount of the cumulative total. Okay, Year 11, that's it for this video here today for constructing graphs. Remember to do them as neatly as you can, unlike my scruffy ones here, using a pencil and a ruler. Yes, label your axes, and that's about all I have for you. I hope you enjoy. If you've got any questions, I'll see you in class.